Welcome to Africa Event Connect, the podcast where we unpack the real work behind Africa's business events industry through the voices of the professionals that are shaping it. Now, this is a space for practical leadership, honest conversations, and industry insights. We're not talking about surface level trends, but we're looking at what it truly takes to design, market, and deliver events that matter. I'm your host, Prajani Patha, exhibition organizer, industry advocate, and someone deeply invested in ensuring that our industry evolves with integrity, intelligence, and impact. Now, today's conversation tackles a word that has become both powerful and I think overused, sustainability. But today we're moving beyond buzzwords, right? It's beyond green hashtags and recycled lanyards. We're actually asking, what does real, measurable sustainability look like in events? And how do we embed it into design, PR, procurement, execution, without compromising experience, profitability, or practicality? Now, I'm delighted to have with me today in studio my guest, Herkie du Preez, and he is the founder and CEO of Strong PR, Marketing and Events. And he is a certified event professional as well. And he's got more than a decade of experience, so I am delighted that he's here with us. Herkie works across business and corporate events, and he specializes in strategic conferences and experience-led design. And that's what I absolutely love, which is why I initiated this discussion. But his work truly blends creativity, strategic intent, and operational precision to build platforms that drive leadership, learning, and industry impact. And that's what we all strive to do. He has delivered events from A to Z, including large-scale summits in sectors like mining, and has achieved sustainability scores as high as 98%, wow, for certain projects, with greening benchmarks averaging at 79.8%. Now, today, we unpack how sustainability becomes operational, measurable, and credible, and how it strengthens brand reputation rather than being a tick box. Herkie, welcome to Africa Event Connect.
Prajani, thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
We are more delighted than you are, believe it or not. I think we're so glad that we got you off the event floor, off the computer, off the planning, and making the time for us today. We really, really appreciate that. We know that it's been a busy start to the year, but I think your heart is always in the sharing as well, besides the strategic doing and executing of the events as well. So we're thrilled. So let's start here, Herkie. Sustainability is everywhere, right, in eventing and marketing language, but it's often not fully integrated into the delivery, okay? So when you walk into a project and sustainability is listed as a goal, or maybe it's not, what do you look for first to determine whether it's strategic or cosmetic?
Thank you, Prajani. So when we start a project, the first things that I look at is the supplier list and is it in procurement? Is it in the budget? If it is not listed in the procurement and if it's not visible on a supplier's list, then it becomes cosmetic.
Yes.
And if it is planned and the questions are there on how are we measuring, are we budgeting for it, and how do we report on it, then it becomes strategic.
I get you. So in your experience, what's the biggest misconception event organizers have about greening events? I mean, they often think it's impossible, I think. But what are your thoughts on that?
So you'll hear sometimes people say that the most green and sustainable event is the one that didn't happen, which is true. But a big misconception is that it is expensive. And in my opinion, it is not about using bamboo straws. It is really about operational decisions and planning from the word go. How do we get there? What logistics do we use? How do we do our carbon offset? What is our carbon footprint? Local supply usage? It's really not about the gimmicks. It is about planning and about the strategy that happens from day one.
That's great. So that is so crucial. It's planning, because I often feel that people go into events, and as we going down the line and we're busy with our plans, or actually sometimes even at execution point, we're saying, oh, hold on a second. Mm-hmm. Oh, we could make this a sustainable thing. We could, do this of cardboard instead of, something else, or we could go electronic, or whatever the case may be. Do you notice that as well?
And that happens too late sometimes.
Yes,
too late. And then you miss the point and the benchmark, and then it becomes more of a cosmetic thing that's happening because it hasn't been thought through properly. And at the end of the day, if you do something last minute, the resources going into it does have a bigger impact at the end than it would have had in the beginning.
That is so true. Now, there are some clients that would say, I want a sustainable event. So it's high up on the agenda. When you're getting the brief from the client, is there. But what about the clients that don't ask or don't consider sustainability as a priority? As event planners and organizers, is it our duty to bring that topic up? Should we drive that, or will we scare the client away?
It is 100% our responsibility as planners and as organizers, because we're the leaders in the industries, and corporates, planners, clients, they all look up to us for advice and for best practices. And sustainability is a best practice. When you get into corporates and you start reading and asking for their code of conduct, their company cultures, sustainability is deeply embedded into most corporate companies these days. And if you ask them about it, many planners and clients are not aware of it. And when we start looking at their company ethos and all their procurement and all of it, it's there. And then it's an eye opener for them as clients as well. That doesn't sit on a procurement side or on a compliance side. And then that is an easy conversation to have. But look, it is in your company ethos. It is in your compliance. So let's put it into your events.
Yeah. And do you think it's also an opportunity to educate our clients?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We get requests often, and in the request... This is the funniest. Yeah. In the request, it says, this is a green event. Okay. Tell me more. It hasn't happened, and you cannot claim a green event before it has happened.
Yeah.
A green event gets measured by data.
Right.
By nothing else. Not by a wish list, not by hopes, not by dreams, by data at the end of the day. And that is where the education steps in. And I think the biggest conversation to have with a client, with an organizer, with a planner, with an exhibition organizer is from day one is to ask the question, what is your sustainability goal for this event? Not, are you thinking about it? Not, do you think we should? I think the question should be straightforward. What is your sustainability goal for this project?
Yeah. That is so important. So start the discussion.
Correct.
Initiate it if it hasn't been initiated already. Don't let it be an afterthought. It needs to be tangible, right?
Definitely.
So if I had to ask you, if an organizer is planning a mid to large scale conference tomorrow, what are 3 immediate actions they can take to reduce the conference's environmental impacts? What would that be for you?
Sourcing local, most definitely. Sourcing local, think modular, think things that can be reused,
right?
That can be repurposed afterwards. But I think on top of the list is making that conscious decision, is do it and then plan for it from day one. That is really the most important. And putting a team together that will support you on the journey. Because as a planner, we don't have all the information. I mean, we're juggling 10,000 things on one project. Sustainability is hard work. It takes some skills. So there are event greening consultants available.
Okay.
And get one in your team from day one as part of your event management team. These are outsourced consultants that are available, and they will take your hand and walk you through all the steps that need to take place to achieve the goals that you set up from the word go. And they also guide suppliers. So from day one, they will hold suppliers' hands as well and say, are you using duct tape? Have you considered A, B, or C? And that is how we achieve great things. If somebody is leading the process, because as a planner, as a supplier, we don't have the time to really think of these things, and it is super important.
Yeah.
And
we're juggling.
It's good to have the support.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like that. So you've heard that directly from Herkie, right? If there are 3 things that you could start with right now, one would be planning initially. Put it in the plan right at the get-go. 2, get a sustainability consultant, right?
Yes.
A greening consultant. 3, source local. Source local. And I got 4. I asked for 3, but we were lucky. We got 4. And go modular so that you can reuse and build and scale up.
Correct. If I can add on to that, I think, and I do this a lot, I ask, with most things, I ask, where does it come from? What is it used for?
Right.
Where is it going after this event?
Where does it come from? What is it used for? And where is it going after the event? Aha. Okay.
If it goes to the dustbin, there's an opportunity to rethink it.
Okay. So when you're saying where does it come from, so are we using...
Are we importing it?
Are we importing it?
Are we building something from scratch? Is it 100% custom built?
Right.
Because that is not sustainable.
Yes.
Is it something that we are repurposing for the purpose of this project? Then that's great.
Yes.
Because we're repurposing, we're reusing. Yeah. So where it comes from really, really matters as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where does it come from? What is it used for? Where does it go?
Correct.
Got it. Wonderful. Okay. So let's move to measuring real sustainability, right? Like in terms of measurements, like, there's some amazing scores and all of that. And we often say like, this was a green event, but what does it actually mean? So sometimes we tick 1 or 2 boxes, and many organizers are happy to say, that was a green event, right? Because we tried, we did. And I look, and kudos to you out there that are trying to make an effort. But I think following Herkie's plan in terms of, like we said in the beginning, get it there at the start of the concept, at the start of the plan, get client on board, right? But let's talk about measuring. How do you measure sustainability beyond this just intention to be sustainable?
I just want to reiterate on what you are saying on kudos to you for trying.
Yeah.
And often we don't need to do it all. Take a project, do 1 or 2 things, learn from it, and do better with the next one. Because if you aim to do it all from the beginning, you're going to set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So really, like, it's okay to try 1 or 2 things. It's really, it's great. But in terms of measurements, so things that we definitely measure is the percentage of local suppliers that's being used.
Okay.
Water usage, energy usage, carbon footprint, where items were coming from, and where delegates are coming from. So that's being measured as well. Not before the event, obviously after. So those are tangible things. It's energy use, water usage, carbon footprint, percentage of local suppliers that's being used. And sometimes legacy projects afterwards also count a lot for certification purposes as well. Yeah. So tangible things. What goes to landfill? What doesn't?
Right.
What's being recycled? Yeah.
Okay. Now we mentioned earlier there's this like an average greening score of 79.8%. So what framework or criteria informs these scores? Is it that what we talked about now?
Yes, the tangible things is really measuring the carbon footprint, how much water has been used, how much energy has been used, where has all the waste gone to afterwards, and every little thing counts, especially when it's properly being certified by a certification body. They really have a look at like how did stock arrive at the event and what was it packaged with. I mean, if it was packaged in bubble wrap that's going to landfill afterwards, it really takes from those points, and it's bad. And so it does create a learning experience for suppliers,
yes,
and for organizers as well, because if you see that in your report, and I've seen this in my reports, where there are heaps and heaps of bubble wrap after supplier has offloaded. And it's shocking to see it on a picture. And then it makes you think, okay, how can we do this better? We obviously understand that stock needs to be covered and protected, but it's not great for the environment and for the impact that it has on the event. It's really not great. We can do better. And things like gifts. I've seen this.
The bugbear.
I've seen this, and I've learned last year, you have to plan for waste. You have to plan for waste. You're going to have waste. But it reduces risk. It reduces the what happens with all the waste afterwards. But you have to plan for waste, because I've seen people offloading and then there are tons and tons of waste that is just in the way of everyone, and it really creates a safety hazard as well.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned just now a certification body. So who would we look to for that? So
there is Heritage Eco Events, Greg McManus,
yes.
But also the Event Greening Forum
has
established their certification project now, and I think that's fully in play. So the Event Greening Forum can help you to appoint an event greening consultant that will walk the journey with you, and then a certification on your event.
Wonderful. So Event Greening Forum is the place to go to help you on this journey, to start. We need a consultant, and very often we don't have specialists within our teams.
Correct.
And we're all learning, and it's important to have that guidance. And it's wonderful to see that the Event Greening Forum has been sharing so much of information. And I think the more you get involved, the more you learn from everybody that participates in it, and learning from each other. I think that collaboration is important as well. So how can organizers report these results in a credible and transparent way? Because sometimes people want to hide it because they're probably too embarrassed when they start looking at the details, right? But should we be embarrassed, or should we own it and try and make it better?
You say transparent. That's the right way to do it. It's honesty. Afterwards, an organizer or a client, a corporate, should not say this was a green event. Rather say, we achieved 80% of waste diversion. Or we learned from A, B, C, D. Because if you report on that, and if you communicate on that, the learnings, the findings, you're also educating other people, because it's really valuable information, learning from others and learning from your own mistakes.
So you come from a very strong background in decor and experience design, and you focus heavily on emotional impact, because that is what we want to leave with our guests. It's how we've made them feel, right? That leaves that lasting memory of the event, of the brands that are associated with that event. So how do you design these powerful experiences and still reduce the environmental impact?
I love this question. And it is a question I get asked a lot, is like, okay, but if we have to be sustainable, how's it going to look? Wow, how's it going to look pretty? And I'm going to go back to those things that I've mentioned at the beginning. Look at what can be reused. Look at the infrastructure that you have. And if I'm talking about what's being reused, I mean lighting, for example. Lighting can create all the feels that you want. It creates emotion. So it's a really, really powerful tool to use in design.
Okay.
Music.
That's true.
Plants. Natural plants, they are being reused. I mean, and plants, when your brain sees something natural, your brain reacts in a positive way. So that's immediate. But that's not really, it's not about that. It's more about, I think, the story that you tell that creates the experience. Because if you tell the story at your event, the stories of what you're doing, the stories of the impact that you're creating, I think that is the emotion that lands, and the feeling that lands with a guest, to feel that I am part of something greater today, because we are not decorating with balloons. We are decorating with plants, and I'm part of this. And that will make me feel good, because I'm at a place that supports the environment and I think that's great. That's the stories that matter. And on this, I mean, we have done many things in a list of sustainable stuff at events, like using bread bag lanyards that's made by a community, and for every lanyard they make, a certain amount gets donated to support a community. We've a ton of things. But at the end of the day, if those stories are not being told at your event, you're not going to create the impact. And I've learned that every time a story gets told, there's an audience reaction, there's an audience feeling, and there's a sense of participation and engagement from an audience member, even if it's something as simple as, I received a water bottle in my goodie bag today, and I must stand up and I must go refill it myself to reduce plastic waste, because they're not going to give me 10 bottles today to drink out of.
Yeah.
That will make me feel good. And I think that is the small little steps that we can take to create an experience that makes people feel involved.
I like that. So, firstly, going back to what you said initially, in terms of things that we could use that we don't realize that we can still create an impact. Lighting, you're so right, it can really change the mood of a room. It's amazing. And then you've got music. Again, soothes the soul, can raise the energy. Immediately you walk into a room, just depending on whatever is playing. I mean, that's why we exercise with music. Exactly. When we want to relax, we relax with music. We want background music. We want white noise and all of those things, because it plays on our emotions. It has an impact on our brain. I was in discussions with some colleagues recently about that. It's neural
neuroscience of the brain.
Yes. And the music, they call them neural beats. That can actually, when you play those kinds of music, it allows people become more conducive to receiving information and want to stay longer. It's like when we go into stores these days, right? Okay, so I love it. I think that is something we take for granted. So we said lights, we said music, and greenery. I mean, I'm sitting here and thinking, I've got an event coming up in the middle of the year, and I need to make it absolutely spectacular and colorful and all of that. And yes, it would, using plants of all kinds, shapes and sizes, and we're so spoiled with that, we can actually make it so special. And you were so right, but it's things that we take for granted. We're not going to be throwing it away after that. It's going to be reused. It'll go back into the ground. It will feed the earth. It will feed our air, right? So many things. That is...
There's a ton of things. And I like this conversation about the sound, lighting, all of that.
Yeah.
Even with lighting, color plays such a big role, and your brain reacts to color. For example, if you want to infuse a room with energy, use ambers, oranges, and yellows. I mean, immediately your brain reacts to energetic. It's a little bit alive, and it's also a happy color. When your brain sees yellow, it's happiness. So it's a great color to use. Green, it gives you the feeling of natural, healthy, good. Blue calms you. Purple calms you. So red, if you want people a little bit more energized and a little bit more energetic and activated, red is a very, very good color to use in a room. I've done a conference in Cape Town about 2 years ago where throughout 2.5 days, we have changed the color of the room probably about 4, 5, 6 times, every time to set a different mood to deliver on the objective for that session.
That is amazing.
So it's really stuff that there is that can be reused, that we really can use to create experience.
Yeah. And I think it makes me think about clients, that said to me, no, we can only keep the lights green because that's our brand color, But that's, again, starting to think more about the brand rather than the guests. And it's all about how we want the guests to feel. So we want the content to land, right? And again, I think it's about educating. Now, you tell me this and I'm thinking, but yes, I could have easily gone back and said to clients, this is the reason behind it. and educating them. And that goes back to your other point about doing all of this, but not sharing the story with the guests and with the clients, and understanding, if your lanyard is made out of a particular material, if the bottles you're using are made after a particular material, sharing that content in whatever way you can, to make those guests feel like they are ambassadors of this green event as well. They are making an active contribution. And when you realize that, it might be a little bit of discomfort because you're not used to it, but when you understand it, the discomfort becomes, a badge to wear.
Exactly. I love that. Yes. No,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that. Wonderful. So, but let's look at like big corporate events that you've done, like mining summits and stuff like that. How do you balance the corporate expectations, the sponsor demands, the sustainability realities? Does it go back to what we're talking about now?
Yes and no. I don't think often corporates think about the member in the audience. You said now, yes, the green color for their brand.
Yep.
And it's our role to educate them, like maybe ask the question of like, what do you want to achieve out of this session? Oh, you want people engaged and happy? Let's make the room yellow just for 30 minutes while people are talking. So education, most definitely. But I do think juggling the balance is corporates understand compliance and risk management. And if you tie sustainability into that, they get it. They get it. So I think we see more and more corporates requesting it in their briefs and in their RFQs. With not fully understanding what and how, but that's where we step in as organizers and say, okay, cool, I see this is a requirement. And then from our side, we will say, this is how we're going to achieve and the steps that we need to take.
Okay. Yeah, that is, again, so important. Like we said, the communication, and that's how we can create the balance.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at one of the most overlooked, I think, sustainability levers, and that's procurement, right? Local suppliers and that supply chain impact on the environment. So how does you mentioned this earlier, how does working with local suppliers reduce the environmental impact in measurable ways?
So definitely by carbon footprint and logistics to see where things are coming from. If something comes from around the corner, it's better than getting it from China.
Right, flown in.
Yes.
And the carbon emissions there. Exactly.
Most definitely. It reduces storage. If it's close by, you don't have to arrange for additional storage or on-site storage, which really helps. But then most importantly, I think it supports communities and community development, in job employment. I think that's really, really key to using local suppliers.
Yeah. And that employment obviously impacts an entire community because you are supporting families.
Correct.
Right? You're supporting homes, you're supporting households, you're supporting education. Agree. There's so many opportunities there. And we have so many developing communities in South Africa that want the opportunity to provide these services. And it's about tapping in because they are there. They might not have the skills to showcase their services, but they are there. And it's up to us to find them. And again, I think it's being part of this eventing community. We all find these gems locally, and it's about sharing them and not just keeping them to ourselves. Because if you want them to grow, if you want them to develop, it's about sharing them as well, right?
Correct. I want to say two things. First is in terms of suppliers and local vendors, there is a website called the Green Database, which is part of the Event Greening Forum.
Right,
and
yes.
It's a website that anyone can access, where there is a list of suppliers in communities and that provide sustainable products as well, which is really, really great. It's a very helpful tool. But what I have seen with local communities is we went out, we've been in Lephalale, we've been in Belfast, we've been in really, really small areas where we have to produce everything and bring in everything. And of course, there's not going to be a technical supplier that has the staging and the LED screens that we require.
Yeah.
That's okay. It comes from Joburg or it comes from Cape Town and it goes there. But things that we can do in supporting local communities and what we have done is employing temporary event staff, people that supports with ushering, welcoming people, runners, just to help carry things. We have used local catering companies as well, where we have seen even they don't have their paperwork in order. So we support them on their journey to get everything in place. This is when we are lucky and we have a year to plan for an event, where we support them on their journey to get everything in place and ready to produce this event with us. We oversee, but we hold their hands and we really want to uplift their business and support them. And yes, then they do the catering for the entire event with our support in the background, but afterwards they can fly because everything is in place.
Yes, so true.
It's really it's using people and in communities and in far places. It's also there's a lot of, you mentioned it, they are there. There are a lot of suppliers that has products and items that we're not aware of, and we should share more of that.
We should.
One challenge though.
Yes.
And this is it's an honest challenge that I have found that if you use smaller suppliers to produce, whether it's gifts, whether it's bags or whatever, scale is challenging. And with the timelines that we are provided with these days, it is not adequate to support small teams to produce big things and large quantities. I've struggled before where I've had to order 2,000 items of a certain product, trying to support, and they couldn't deliver the full batch. And I understand it because of timelines, and this is where it sits, I think, on the procurement side of clients and corporates. And we should educate them more about how we can, I don't know, extend lead times to support.
That would be delightful.
If we have more and better lead times, the impact that we can create and the thought that we can put into planning, into uplifting, into sourcing, the impact would be so great. But I mean, like I've done big things with within a month, and when you have a month to plan something big, the thought is just to get it done, because there isn't time to absorb and really like infuse it with all the impact stuff that we can create.
But also, if you have that lead time and you're able to support a local supplier, and the more of us that support that local supplier, it allows that business to upscale to be able to provide quicker delivery of whatever we want from them, right?
Exactly.
Because they're able to upscale their infrastructure.
Their team. No, definitely.
Yeah. So we all have to start somewhere, and I think the more people we get to buy into this, the more we get clients to understand the importance of lead times, and the more of our event organizers supporting local people wherever they can will allow for those communities to develop and then be able to deliver.
Definitely.
That's where we want to get to.
Exactly.
Long-term goals.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So we talked about this earlier, right? Communicating with our guests and with our clients about what we're doing, if there are green initiatives, and to allow them to be part of that story, part of the narrative. Now, you are part of a PR agency as well, right? You sit at that intersection of sustainability and communication. Now, how do you think organizers can communicate their efforts without overclaiming, or falling into that greenwashing?
I think it's definitely communicating honestly. And back to what I said earlier, it's not about marketing afterwards that you were a green event. It's more about the results and the reporting on actual and real
data.
Data, exactly,
Right.
with real data. Afterwards, you say, we have reduced 80% of waste in this event. Our water usage was A, B, C, D. And that's the reality.
Yes.
And that's an honest conversation. Or if it was really, really bad, and we say, our energy consumption was double that we have planned for. It's an honest lesson learned, and it's honest communication that goes out there that builds trust and credibility.
Yes. And possibly as well, I mean, would it be possible to say, yes, it was a challenge?
Definitely.
Right. Water consumption was a challenge because of these reasons. And we look forward to overcoming that challenge. Now, putting that out there might bring up a supplier that will be able to help you with that don't know that exists, right? So we don't just tell the pretty story, right? We want to, like you're saying, we want to be transparent. We want to be authentic. We want to be real, that we have good intentions, but this is not an easy journey. And so this is where we've done exceptionally well, and this is where we are struggling. So we can get the help we need, right?
I love that. And I'm thinking about, like, for example, doing a case study after a project in a magazine or online, or even in a podcast format. Doing a case study, talking about the challenges. And maybe there's somebody there that sees, oh, wow, here's an opportunity for me to help. Or here's a gap that can be filled. And that can open so many doors for events, for our industry. And we should share those challenges, most definitely, because that's the only way we learn together and find solutions together to those. Because I think there will be almost like a golden thread throughout projects and events everywhere, where we would see similar things happening and shaping, and together we can find solutions for that if we talk about it.
Absolutely. And I think it starts with the transparency, right? Because transparency builds trust, and trust builds longevity. And that's what we aim for.
Yes.
Now, let's turn our attention to, trends in the industry and turning those trends into industry standards, right? So if we zoom out, what needs to happen for sustainability to move from a nice to have trend to a baseline industry standard? What do you think? Is this driven by clients, regulations, industry bodies, associations? What are your thoughts on that?
So 3 things. Definitely clients requesting this more. Okay. It should happen more. And we've seen this. It is happening, not everywhere. Industry bodies standardizing the process and how it should look like. This is happening. It's in place. You can go look at the Event Greening Forum, which is really a voice for the industry in event greening, and all the tools and information is available. So it's happening, and I would love to see more industry bodies talking about sustainability. On that, I've been to a few industry events where sustainability has been a discussion at the back end in a room in a corner. And that's where I feel it is wrong. Sustainability should be the first conversation in a main plenary if we have if we have an industry event.
That is so true.
And that's key. So more of that with the industry. And then us as organizers should lead and drive it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key things. Us as organizers should definitely drive and organize sustainability.
Yes. And it's not just the African events industry space, right? We're talking about the global industry space, and it's a global conversation, right? So where do you see Africa, the Africa events industry in this global conversation? Do you think we have a strong narrative?
I think it's starting and it's growing, and it's an ongoing conversation that I think is going to be ongoing forever. But we're really starting to see it taking shape. The conversation is there. The conversation is getting bigger and it's getting wider. And I think in Africa, there is so many opportunities, job creation, legacy projects, community projects that we can just get involved in. And yeah, I think the opportunity is there. And on a global scale, I think the conversations are similar almost everywhere. And it's an ongoing thing. Everybody's learning. It used to be at the back of mind. Now it is on top of mind. And that's great. And I think that's great. Just continue like that and more of.
Yes, more of.
Yeah.
And ensuring that we are learning from other countries and other continents as well, because they might have a breakthrough that could just be implemented. So it's about opening the doors and creating the bridges between. Right?
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
Now, Herkie, I'd like to close with this question. If you could give one piece of advice to event professionals who genuinely want to improve their sustainability impact, but they feel really overwhelmed, right? What would that be?
Start with one or two small things.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from it and do it better at the next event. And add on every time. Small steps, baby steps, because that's the only way you're going to overcome the feeling of a challenge. And you will learn that it's not a challenge. It's really part of planning from the word go.
Yep.
And make that decision, incorporate it in your RFQs to your suppliers. Have the conversation with your suppliers as an organizer. Say, listen, this is what I want to achieve at this event, whether your client knows about it or not. I mean, it's a conscious choice that you can make as an organizer. Say, I want to do better. I am going to ask the support of my suppliers to help me on this journey. And put it in your RFQs, put it in your briefs. And if it's there consistently, it will become normal. Yeah.
And I think we're talking about this within the space of the event space, right? But I think there's a bigger picture. And I think the one question that or comment that we can make here as well is that why are we so hooked on being sustainable and green? Like, I know that might seem like such an obvious question, but why would that be?
I think because it's a trained word.
Right.
And it's out there, but nobody really knows what it means.
Yes. But the impact on the world?
It's there. And I think everybody wants to, because I think we as people do want to do better.
Yes.
We must just be given the tools to know how.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there. The conversation is going. So we must just educate one another, keep the conversations going, make it on top of mind, make it a priority, and make it happen.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Herkie. I really, really appreciate your time with us today. And I hope that everyone has picked up lots of pieces of advice here. I think there's lots to ponder and re-listen to at different points in time. So we really appreciate your input.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And let's go do better.
Well, this conversation reminds us that sustainability is not decor. It's not a slogan, and it is not a once-off initiative, right? It's design, it's procurement, it's measurement, it's communication, and it's leadership. So thank you so much to Herkie for grounding this conversation in really practical action and measurable results. To all of you that's listening, if this episode challenged you to rethink how you plan, design, and communicate your events, then we're happy that we're doing a good job. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Africa Event Connect. I'm your host, Progeny Pather, and we're here to build an industry that is credible, supportive, competitive, and conscious. Until next time.